everybody, welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about a brand new Economical electric sausage stuffer available from the sausage maker. Is it worth the money? That's what we're here to find out. You and I are going to take a look at it together, and then we're going to run a series of tests on it to see whether it can handle the pressure. Now, you're going to want to stick around to the end of this video because I'm going to share with you a particular hack that you can apply to your sausage stuffer, whether it's manual or electric, to get a good majority of that excess meat that remains behind, to get it pushed out and into your casing. Let's get started. All right, so for those of you that have been around for quite some time, you know that I absolutely love my 25-pound electric sausage stuffer from the sausage maker, but it comes with a pretty hefty price tag. This one, on the other hand, sells for about a quarter of the price, and although it's still not cheap, by comparison, it is the more economical option. Now, let me just talk a little bit about electric sausage stuffers. Let me move this out of the way. Electric sausage stuffers are incredible investments for the home sausage maker. Number one, you can work independently. You don't need anybody's help. And you no longer have to focus on cranking down the piston while you're forming the sausage. A foot pedal activates the piston, and with a variable control, you can operate it as fast or as slow as you want. This allows you to focus on forming your sausage, taking your time, which not only produces a faster product, but a better product. I don't know about this unit because we haven't done it yet, but this stuffer behind me can stuff 25 pounds of sausage into its casing in about 90 seconds. Towards the end of this video, we'll run a speed test to see how long it takes for this stuffer to empty its hopper as well. The problem is that not all electric sausage stuffers are created equal, and what I'm about to say doesn't only apply to electric sausage stuffers, but it also applies to all sausage stuffers. You can pretty much stuff all large diameter sausages with basically any stuffer that's available on the market today. The problem that you're going to run into is when you pull out that half-inch stuffing horn. This particular stuffing horn is used to make hot dogs, snack sticks, or any small diameter sausage. The second you put this half-inch stuffing horn onto your stuffer and that piston begins to drop, you're going to create a lot of pressure because the exit hole is very small, a half-inch in diameter. And that back pressure that is created because of this small stuffing horn is going to put a lot of stress on the gears, it's going to put a lot of stress on the motor, and it's going to put a lot of stress on the framework, the housing of your electric sausage stuffer. I can't tell you how many times I get emails that state their motor burnout, their gears were stripped, or the actual system itself buckled under that pressure. So a well-built sausage stuffer should have adequate gears, a strong enough motor, and a strong enough support system to be able to accommodate the half-inch stuffing horn. Now, from time to time, you will see some companies recommend that you add a little extra moisture to your recipe to help soften up that batter, and that will work, but additional moisture in a sausage recipe tends to change the texture. And I don't personally feel that we should water down our sausage simply because a sausage stuffer is not built adequate enough. So what we're going to do is we're going to run a couple really hardcore tests, two of which will be with this small horn. Both will be incredibly dense batters, one using roughly about a 10% moisture and the other one using a very coarse grind with about a 5% moisture. Very sticky, very tough, and we should see how this little guy holds up. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at the stuffer, and then we'll start running our tests. All right, this is what the unit looks like. Starting from the top, we've got an all-metal housing for the gears and the motor. Control panel seems simple and intuitive. We've got a stainless steel hopper with a solid metal support system that connects the motor to an all-metal base. So the only plastic parts on this stuffer is the nut that connects the plastic horn, and then of course the plunger itself. I'm loving the support system. This is such an important part of a well-built stuffer, and we'll see how it performs in a minute. The back panel is just as simple. You've got an on-off switch, a circuit breaker, a plug for your foot pedal, and then of course a plug for your power cable. Now the system does look like it's wiggling, but that is not because it's unstable. It's because it's on a table that apparently is on uneven ground. This is the foot pedal that activates the motor. You simply step on it and the plunger will begin to go down. Once you release the foot pedal, it stops. Let's go ahead and plug it in, power the unit on, and take a look at what the front side looks like in action. The green indicator here shows you that the power is on, and this is the variable speed control. This controls the speed of the motor. Basically, slow and fast. The minimum setting is reserved for your small diameter sausages. Anything that uses a half-inch stuffing horn, just like the one I'm showing here. That half-inch stuffing horn creates a lot of pressure, and you want to make sure that you stuff it nice and easy, very slow, very gentle. When you change stuffing horns and you go into the bigger sizes, you can literally adjust it to whatever speed you feel comfortable. We're going to put it on the max setting here in a minute so that you can see what that looks like. Let's go ahead and remove the hopper, and I'm going to show you what the control panel basically does. So you have the up button, the down button, and then the button that stops everything. Very simple. If you press the down button, the motor will kick on, and as you can see right here, it's pretty slow. Let me go ahead and turn the speed up a little bit so that it moves a little bit faster. And there it is. That's at max speed. And I know it doesn't seem like it's going very fast, but trust me when I tell you, the moment that that plunger touches the meat and that pressure is built, that sausage meat is going to come flying out of that horn, so get ready. Let's now stop the process and hit the up button, and the same exact thing is going to happen. It's going to automatically turn on and begin to go up until it reaches the very top. When I press the foot pedal, the motor kicks on almost immediately, and then it begins to go down. And when this gets to the very bottom, the reverse kicks on, and that goes all the way back up by itself. Let's take a look at the hopper. Solid stainless steel construction, padded feet on the bottom. This thing is heavy. Locking mechanisms both on the bottom and the top, and then of course you've got the 4 plastic stuffing horns that it comes with. This is a 1/4 inch. You've got your 1/2 inch, 1 1/4 inch, and then 1 1/2 inch for stuffing your extra large sausages like mortadella or bologna. This is the locking mechanism on this hopper. You've got an area here at the bottom where it slides in, and then this area here at the top locks it into place, keeping everything nice and stable. The unit boasts a 25-pound meat capacity, so we're going to fill this up to see exactly how much it can hold. Okay, let's talk about the plunger for this electric stuffer. Heavy-duty plastic. When we flip it over, you've got that airlock that has a slight depression. Now what happens is as that plunger drops, the air between the meat and the plunger escapes through that particular lock, and then it seals it shut. This has nothing to do with air pockets that might be within your meat, as this only removes the air between the meat and the plunger. All right, so when it comes to the plunger, one thing you are going to have to do every time you use this is take a butter knife or the back of a spoon or something that's not sharp, and just wedge it under that gasket and flip it forward. This will pop that gasket off, allowing you to clean in that little space. Sometimes meat gets stuck in there. And now we're going to put it back on, and you're going to see just how easy this is. With one hand, I'm going to hold it in place, and with the other, I'm going to slide it around that plunger until it slips into its groove. Super easy. One thing you want to do every time you make sausage is lubricate the gasket on your plunger with a little lightweight oil. I'm using sunflower oil. Any neutral oil will work. And once you've got that lubricated, you're good to go. Now, one question we get a lot is how do you get most of that excess meat that remains in the hopper after you're done making sausage? And what I'm about to show you is a hack I came up with that is completely unsanctioned. Matter of fact, if you end up messing up your stuffer because of this hack, there's a decent chance your warranty will be void. So just be careful how you approach this particular trick when it comes to removing that excess meat. You see, there's a particular safety feature on this stuffer that keeps that plunger from going all the way to the bottom. You're left with about a 1/2 inch space once it's all said and done. This protects the motor, which also means you're going to get a lot of meat under that plunger. In order to go further down, what we need to do is lower that plunger. And so what I do is add a couple washers to that area before I screw it onto the electric stuffer, and that in essence lowers it. Now, this is where you got to be careful. Start with 1 or 2 washers and see how far down that plunger goes, because if you add too many washers and you in essence force that plunger onto the base, you could burn out your motor, which 100% that will void out your warranty. So this is what it's going to look like once it's all assembled, and here in a minute you'll see the results. Let's get started with test number 1. Pepperoni snack sticks. This is a super sticky, ultra dense, triple ground meat farce, and if we're going to have a problem, we're going to have a problem with this recipe because it is not forgiving. This recipe has 10% moisture with a binder, and when it comes to making sausage, 10% is about the most moisture that you want to add when using a binder. Otherwise, the texture of your sausage will suffer, and it's going to seem too soft. So I think this is a great recipe, and I believe this is going to really put our electric sausage stuffer to the test, because look, if it can do snack sticks, it can literally do anything else. I'm not worried about the big stuff. It's the small stuff that usually gives these stuffers a problem. So let's go ahead and pack that hopper full of our delicious pepperoni snack stick mix. This is what that's going to look like. We're doing roughly 6-7 pounds today, and we're going to go ahead and get that onto our unit. And it just kind of locks into place, all nice and easy. There we go. I like the way that fits in there, nice and snug. Let's get the foot pedal plugged in. We'll power the unit on. let's get started. All right, to get started, we're going to put this on max setting for the sole purpose of dropping that plunger down pretty quick. And because we've already lubricated that plunger, it's coming in no problem. Very good there. I'm going to put my finger on that stuffing horn, and as soon as I feel a little pressure build up, I'm going to release that foot pedal, and then I'm going to go ahead and lower the speed. When you're doing snack sticks with this electric stuffer, you want to come in somewhere between that first and second major mark. And you can obviously adjust this depending on your comfort level, but if you come in too fast, let's say, up in this section right here, it creates too much pressure, and it will either blow out your casing or that O-ring will pop off that plunger. So I keep it right about here, and that is perfect. Let's go ahead and get our casing on the horn. We're using 18mm sheep casing, very, very small diameter sheep casing. And we're going to see how this unit performs. And the size of the casing is really not the issue. It's when you use a 1/2-inch stuffing horn that puts a lot of pressure on the system, a lot of stress on the gears, and it's where a lot of electric stuffers and even stuffers in general have a problem. It's when you do snack sticks. But as it stands, this is running really smooth, nice and easy. The motor does not sound like it's getting bogged down, and it's coming out in one even continual press. And the speed as it stands right now is a very comfortable speed. Perfect if you're just getting started, with snack sticks or with sheep casings. It's not too fast, not too slow, but you can always adjust it higher or lower depending on your experience level. This stuffer is handling that ultra dense, ultra thick meat farce like a champ. And like I said in the beginning, you shouldn't have to water down your sausage because the stuffer wasn't built well. And fortunately, this stuffer is doing a flawless job. When we remove the hopper, let me show you how much meat is remaining in that hopper after we've applied our little hack. Let me just pull that out. And after it was all said and done, I did weigh this right quick. And this little bit of meat ended up weighing about 1/4 pound. Not bad, actually. Pretty good. So there we go. That was about 6-7 pounds of pepperoni snack sticks without a problem. Even with a thicker, slightly more dense batter, this worked beautifully. Let's move on to test number 2. We're going to be making a lapchung. Now, if you're familiar with lapchung, this is a coarsely chopped, coarsely ground sausage with chunks of candied fat in them. It's very sticky. It's very dense. Moisture content is about 5%. And so by anyone's standards, this is definitely going to be a stress test for this electric stuffer to see how it performs. There we go. We've got about 10 pounds in the hopper. Beautiful. Very heavy hopper. Nice stainless steel construction. Let's snap that into place. And remember, we're only putting this on max to get that plunger down to the level of the meat. And then we're going to reduce the speed. Not a problem. So plunger coming down nice and easy, and it has been properly lubricated. Let's go ahead and put our 22-24mm sheep casing on the horn. All right, let's go ahead and reduce the speed down to minimum. We're going to bring it somewhere halfway between the first and second major line. And we're going to see how this lapchung, this coarsely ground or coarsely chopped up sausage with chunks of fat in it, makes its way through that 1/2-inch stuffing horn. We're using a 22-24mm sheep casing, and as some of you already know, what we're doing right here can be problematic for some stuffers, but we are having absolutely no problem. It is not stressed, very smooth operation, and even on that slow speed, it's actually coming through quite nicely, very manageable. Now, you can always increase or decrease the speed depending on how comfortable you are. And for test number 2, I gotta say, this stuffer is handling its business. Let's go ahead and remove that from the horn and get that tied off. This finishes up roughly about 10 pounds of lapchung. That's what that looks like. And then after it's all said and done, we had no casing blowouts, and the electric stuffer worked flawlessly. And I got to tell you, I wasn't sure it was going to work as good as it did, being that we had such a coarse grind with all those fat chunks, but we had no problems. Okay, let's get this into the biltong box. And for the third and final test, the kielbasa speed run. We've got this hopper just about filled to the top. I've got about 1 inch of headspace. And in that hopper, we are just a few ounces short of 25 pounds. I think if you fill it to the very top, you'll get 25 pounds, but you do want to leave yourself a little headspace. So the hopper itself is a 25-pound hopper, but realistically, you're going to get about 24 3/4 pounds after it's all said and done. We're going to see how long it takes this electric stuffer to empty out its hopper on max speed. I am going to include any casing changes that we do, so this will all be real time, including me having to add more casings once these run out. And as you can see right here on the horn, we did add 2 casings, and that should get me about 14 to 15 pounds. So I will probably have to add 2 more casings before it's all said and done. All right, so let's go ahead and tie it off and get this process started. We'll go to the control panel and get this into the red zone, maximum velocity. Give the foot pedal a little press. Nice and responsive. And as soon as we've got meat coming out of that hopper, we'll start the timer and see how long it takes. And that's what 25 pounds of Polish sausage looks like, stuffed perfectly. Check that out. No casing blowouts, very little air pockets, and super manageable to stuff at max speed. Only took 3 minutes and 45 seconds. Not bad. All right, folks, there you have it. That's the Economical sausage stuffer from the sausage maker. And I got to tell you, for the price, this unit completely exceeded my expectations. I mean, the pepperoni snack stick batter was incredibly heavy. It was dense. It had a 10% moisture content, but it was still very sticky and very thick. And that right there would have given most sausage stuffers a run for their money. But this guy right here handled it no problem. Very smooth operation. The motor did not sound stressed. Matter of fact, the motor sounded exactly the same as it did when there was no meat in it. Moving on to test number 2, we had a coarsely ground sausage and chunks of fat. Also, very dense batter, only 5% moisture in that. That right there is a stuffer killer, but this electric sausage stuffer took care of business and it handled it without any problems as well. One thing that I will say is that when you're pressing the foot pedal, and that back pressure is created, you want to give yourself a little bit of slack before you release that foot pedal, because if you don't, and you get to the end of your casing, meat is going to want to come out. And so let me tell you what I do to keep that from happening. So I give myself about 4 to 5 inches before the casing runs out on the horn. I'll release the foot pedal, and remember, there's still back pressure, so you're still going to have meat coming through that horn. I'll then press the up button, which will raise the piston, and then I'll press stop almost immediately after. And what that does is that releases the back pressure. The reason I do that is because the foot pedal only has one direction, and that is down. There's no reverse option on that foot pedal. So if you just release the pressure by pressing the up button, hit the stop button, you are good to go, and I didn't find it to be a problem whatsoever. On our third and final test, the sausage speed run, it took 3 minutes and 45 seconds to empty out this hopper. Now remember, that time does include me having to add additional casings to the horn. Now with this unit completely empty, it takes just a little under 2 minutes to go from the very top to the very bottom. But I mean, come on, let's face it, 3 minutes and 45 seconds is not a shabby amount of time to unload 25 pounds of sausage meat into its casing. The construction on this unit is solid. I didn't find it to be rickety or poorly made in any way. What was also very encouraging was that the support system was strong. Now I'm talking about those side columns. That's basically the backbone of this entire system. If those side columns are not strong enough, then they will buckle under the pressure that's created with that 1/2 inch stuffing horn, and this system had absolutely no problem. Another thing that I really liked is that I was able to use my stainless steel stuffing horn. Now this also came from the sausage maker, and although it does come with plastic ones, if you happen to have this upgraded version, the diameter of the base is the exact same. So you can either use the plastic ones that it comes with, or you could use your stainless steel upgraded. And I really like these because the horn is longer. You could put more casings on there, which means you don't have to refill it nearly as often. And I find that it produces a better sausage with less casing blowout. So I love the fact that I could use these, but either way, the plastic ones will work as well. Another thing that I liked was the construction of the hopper. Let me pull this out. There we go. So this is heavy duty. I mean, it does come with feet on the bottom, so you can set it down and it doesn't wiggle around all over the place, but this is solid stainless steel, incredibly heavy. Beautiful welds all the way around. This is just a solid quality design for a hopper. And then when you get to put it back on the unit, it kind of slides in like that. It leans forward, so you can actually load this while it's still on the unit, and then all you've got to do is press it back and lock it into place. And there you have it. That's my thoughts on this electric sausage stuffer. And I got to tell you, there were virtually no flaws in this particular stuffer. And you got to remember, I didn't want to get into the mindset where I was comparing it to the one behind me, because really there's no comparison. So I had to look at this as a standalone unit. I thought that it was adequate. I thought that the build was sufficient for its capability. Matter of fact, I thought it overperformed. The variable speed was perfect. It wasn't too fast and it wasn't too slow, but it certainly allows you a lot of wiggle room when you're making sausage. If I had to absolutely nitpick this particular unit and find a flaw in it, I would say that the safety cutoff might be a little bit higher than I would prefer. I think it could have afforded to come down a little bit lower, but I totally get it. It protects the motor, it protects the company, and thankfully, because of that little hack that we talked about, now remember, use at your own risk, we were able to overcome that particular issue. All right, folks, let me know if you have any questions on the Economical sausage stuffer from the Sausage Maker. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this particular unit. If you want any more information on it, be sure to check the description box below. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section, and if you like this video or got something out of it, a thumbs up is always helpful. If you want to see the pepperoni snack stick recipe and have a chance to win this 25-pound electric sausage stuffer, click that subscribe button and that notification bell, because both the recipe and the chance to win this sausage stuffer will be featured in one of our episodes for Celebrate Sausage Season 4, premiering October 1st here on the Two Guys in a Cooler channel. I don't want you to miss it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye.